Okay, technical difficulties. I can't. My chat window's not opening up. This is your host, Chance Paladin and Ringo. And we are. Ringo is tired as shit. My OBS fucked up. And didn't pop up with half the stuff it was supposed to. So I am actually super confused. And so I swear I have topics. I just need to figure out some way of opening my chat, or otherwise this is going to be a very awkward. There we go. Nanny, how's it going? Chance Paladin and Ringo here. Ringo's right here, pawing at my arm and purring his happy little heart out. So hopefully you guys can hear me. Blah, 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 blah. Hopefully you can hear me. And this is going to be a little bit of an extra challenge, but that's okay. So, I'll just, quick reminder, if you grabbed my bunker book, thank you. If you have already grabbed it, if you could leave a review, that would be great. Loud and clear. Okay, fantastic. So, yeah. Yes, and we're up to 9 reviews on my bunker book, and if we get up to 25 reviews, I will write a part 2. I have a part 2 planned. Okay, so there's a bunch of really interesting there's a bunch of really interesting drone news, and I have not been covering it as much as I want to. Leave a comment down below if you own a drone or are thinking of owning a drone. So come here in about a month, because of some FCC stuff and because of the government shutdown and because of some audit shenanigans, you will not be able to buy DJI drones for the foreseeable future. And this might be a big deal to some of you. Well, it might not be a big deal to you now, but it will be a big deal to you eventually, because sooner or later you're going to want one and realize how important they are, and then you won't be able to get one or two, or maybe you already have one and you want a second one and you won't be able to. So, and a lot of people might be saying, well, we're going to make America great again. We just need to make our own drones. And that, that's great, but it'll never happen. And, well, not anytime soon, probably not in our lifetimes, because we don't make the computer chips here, and the computer chip is the most important part. The rest of besides the chip, everything else can be 3D printed, besides a couple wires. And so that's kind of the bottleneck. There's actually, you could, if you had a 3D printer, you could 3D print a drone right now, plop a camera, some wires, motors, but you still would need the chip. And those of you who are smarty pantses know that that's a challenge because of Taiwan. So, so I've been doing some research so I can try to explain this to people, this whole shenanigans, because this situation with DJI, it's supposedly like a security audit, right? Because China big, China scary, la-di-da. Meanwhile, the FAA doesn't want people flying drones anyway. They don't want anyone to have anything. The FCC doesn't want anyone to have radios or anything. And A drone is just like a flying radio, basically. Even though, like I was telling my friend, people have had RC cars, which were basically like, oh, Ringo is making this very, very challenging. Ringo, you're not helping. How long have modern RC planes been commercially available? Concise. Ringo. Okay. So I was explaining all this to my friend. You know, drones are dangerous because people realize they can do no things with the drones now, and surveillance and la-di-da-di-da-di-da. Well, those of you who are youngins, not like me, I'm ancient. I'm like, I sound like a kid, but I'm actually like 85 years old. You wouldn't believe it, but it's true. I'm like 85. So back when I was around in 1957, the first commercial prop systems, you know, like on an airframe, kind of came to market. And by 59, every moron on the planet had an RC car, or not an RC car, an RC plane, which was like a giant honking remote control on a plane like 1/5 the size of a car. Like, these things are huge. If you've never seen one, like, you can't transport it in a car without breaking it down into like a bunch of pieces. So leave a comment down below if you've ever seen a real RC plane before. They are huge. Those things have always been dangerous. They are giant flying missiles full of fuel. If they hit a house, the house is done. If they hit a person, the person's done. And yet people have been flying these things for 70 years, right? So this whole concept, this whole notion that drones are dangerous and blah-de-da, like, we already have phones and radios and computers and shit and every smart device on the planet that's already just constantly listening to us. So, yeah, they are massive. Let me see. Oh, Ringo's on my hand now. RC. This is going to be really hard to type one. Ringo. He's laying on my hand. And so I'm going to see if I can find a picture. They're massive. I'm trying to find... Oh, I mean, they get... And people make them even more, like, almost... People... Here we go. Let's just grab this off the interwebs here. Uno momento, you guys. This is so hard when, you know, okay. All right, if you look on the screen, this is like a half scale model, but people make, where the hell did my chat go? People make like quarter scale. Look how big that thing is. Okay, that's ridiculous. Those are half-size scale models. They're not usually that big. The ones around it are like quarter scale models. They're still massive. These things are massive. They're huge. Nobody needs this. Just like you don't need weapons of war. And you don't need armor and knives and nods and cars. You don't need this. You don't need a giant freaking RC plane. Just like people don't need real planes. Like, you don't need this. This doesn't need to be flying around. Okay. But before you get all pissed off, America is not about what we need. America is about being American. And being American means having giant obnoxious things that piss everybody else off. Okay. Which brings us back to drones. They have drones now that are bigger than that. If you guys have ever seen those giant commercial drones that they use for like pesticides and stuff, they're like the size of a pickup truck. They're huge. This would be so much easier if you weren't laying on my hand. Anyway, you'll have to take my word for it. There's giant commercial drones that are bigger than that take 4 batteries, like 1 battery per prop, and they're just massive. Anyway, the point is the cat's out of the bag, just like with everything else. And those are cool. And during the big drone scare, if you guys remember the big drone scare just before Orange Man became president, they found one of those giant drones just sitting in a parking lot that, like, I don't know, someone just left it there. Those are like $250,000 drones. The batteries alone are just worth a fortune. You could pop the batteries out and drive a truck around if you wanted. I mean, they're huge. Anyway, the point is the cat's out of the bag. America is not about what we need. America is about getting our hands on every single thing we possibly can, because this is America and that's what we do. So depriving us from little sub 249 gram drones is just idiocy. Can they spy on us? Sure. Who cares? Who gives a shit? Like, the cat's out of the bag. They have flock cameras everywhere. Everybody has surveillance cameras on every side of their house pointing out. A lot of people have surveillance cameras pointing inside their houses now. Everyone's got doorbell cameras and cameras on the front of their car, and Teslas are just giant driving cameras. Like, we live in a surveillance state that is also still too inept to be able to do anything with the surveillance that it gets, except for pick on people who it doesn't like. So trying to keep us from having drones for our own safety is just idiotic. It's just let us have the damn drones. Nobody gives a shit if China's spying on them anymore. People have literally those stupid smart things in their houses, and smart stoves and smart fridges and smart micro. Like, nobody cares about China. So a lot of people have said that all of this BS is coming from an American drone company that is long defunct called Skydio. Skydio is an American manufacturer of drones headquartered in San Mateo, California. Where the hell did my chat go? You probably have never heard of Skydio. Ringo, have you heard of Skydio? Ringo hasn't heard of them either. Nobody's heard of this fucking company because they shit the bed ages ago. Apparently, according to their really wonky ass website, 2.8 million customer flights. Their website doesn't even, the front of their website doesn't even have a single picture of their drone on it besides a military guy holding a drone, and honestly the rest just look like DJI quadcopter ripoffs. Like, national security, wants to keep using them because they like to use American made stuff. But commercially, you've never seen one. Nobody's ever seen one. Nobody's ever heard of them. Exactly. You're not going to go to the store and find one. They are not commercially viable. DJI has just run circles around them to the point to where DJI is basically just competing with itself. Family of flying robots. These look like last gen. Their drones just look like last gen Temu knockoffs. They don't have a product line. Okay? Skydio X10. Nobody knows what the fuck this thing is. Like, you don't. It looks like it looks like a first gen DJI. Like it's a joke. But as some of you may know, what do American companies do when they can't compete? Survey says they go and ban it, is what they do. That's why I call it a corporatocracy. They ban the things that they can't compete with, and then they give their own companies massive government contracts. And it's this big government circle jerk. And now I sound like Alex Jones. Regardless, a lot of people have suspected that the people that are stonewalling DJI have a backdoor reach around deal with Skydio. The problem, of course, is that any human with two brain cells together knows that Skydio doesn't make drones that compete with DJI. DJI is already like 3 generations ahead. To the point to where the Neo 2, the Neo, which only came out a year ago, the Neo 2 is already coming out that has better forward sensors, better navigation, better downward detection, twice as much battery life. DJI is competing with itself. It doesn't even give a shit what Skydio does. So China and Europe, well, probably the rest of Asia too, now already have a full generation of drones ahead of what we are allowed to have here in America, because what was it? The Avata, was it the next Avata drone that DJI made? Okay, I'll just hold on. Give me a second while I talk to the Grok here. How many DJI, or wait, which DJI drones now are we behind on in the US that the rest of the world has? All right, uno momento while this runs. Hey, holy shit. Wow. The man, the myth, the legend. Everybody, if you like peppers, the leading doctor, the leading pepper doctor is in the chat. Dude, my peppers didn't do anything this year. My peppers did nothing. They just died. I am terrible. I am terrible at peppers. And I am telling you, you need to do a pepper video that explains how the hell you save your peppers, because I am freaking terrible at it. I am terrible at it. It sucks. I am a pepper failure. Okay. So Grok says, these are the missing 2025 DJI drones. The Mavic 4 Pro, the Mini 5 Pro, the Neo 2. Oh, and the Flip. Oh, I forgot about the Flip. So we're like 5. We're like 5 drones behind. We're 5 DJI drones behind in the US. So whether you want to use the drone for fun or because you need to resist a tyrannical government of psychopaths, or somewhere in between, you just need to get someone off your lawn. Get off my lawn. You know, you should be allowed to have the most modern drone possible. And that is not going to be, it's not going to be any other drone company. It's going to be DJI. So, and that's why you need to pick up SHTF drone. Great book. If you're going to get a drone, that's the drone book to get. Let's see if I can, throw this in the, holy shit. Throw this in the chat. This is a good book. It's like super, 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 super affordable. It's kind of a short book, but it's like seriously everything that you'll ever want. So if you are picking up a drone in the next month, grab this book too. And this shows you how to use your drone to do the things. That is a fantastic book. That is boop boop boop. Oh my gosh, where'd my friggin' bump. Okay, so you should be, if you can get a newer drone, you should be using, the newest, goodest drones you can. But now we're 5 drones behind, and at this rate, like, who knows if or when we're ever going to officially get these drones back. And what a lot of people were concerned about is if they can geolocate your phones and at a bare minimum, they can freeze the software updates from these phones. Now, those of you who don't own any DJI products know that you have to install crap on your phone to use it, which isn't very fun. But what you don't know about DJI apps is they're all sideloaded, which means that they can't get rid of it. However, now that I'm saying this out loud, supposedly within a couple generations of the Android operating system, they are going to be requiring some kind of official certification before even you won't even be able to sideload things anymore. Sideloading means you're not using the Android store. So, worst case scenario, you will have to be using a jailbroken phone to fly your DJIs. But DJI themselves has already said many times in the past that they aren't going to abide by any U.S. shutdowns of DJI drones. And so, hopefully you're all still following along with what I'm talking about. There is a massive amount of what Grok calls gray, it calls it gray importing or something like that. It's pretty funny. I think it calls it like gray importing. It's pretty funny. And basically eBay and apparently all of the other, non-Amazon stores are all flush with illegal drones where people have been smuggling drones into the country. And in fact, a lot of DJI's official footage, and you'll get a kick out of this, heckling. A bunch of the DJI footage for the Neo 2 is actually in Portland. So they were flying, I don't know how they got approval for this or whatever, but they were flying basically an illegal drone around Portland as part of their marketing footage. I thought that was hilarious. And all the Portland stands in the chat are like, see, LOL, it's not on fire. And obviously it is. And also that that homeless guy burnt half that Portland councilwoman's house down. So yeah, the city is more or less on fire. It's just a matter of which day of the week and what time you look out the window. But I digress. There is, a world that exists next year where you will still be able to buy these drones. It's just going to be a little bit more risky. And so the FCC's new retroactive powers, voted October 28, only let them to revoke authorizations for import, sale, marketing of already approved models post-edition on the covered list. Explicitly state no requirements to replace equipment in consumers' hands or brick anything. However, I I don't believe that they're not going to try to do that, because they're going to probably emergency authorize some BS or the other. But it says DJI has no remote braking mechanism, and they've already signaled they'll never cooperate with forced disabling. And I think as a token of goodwill, when the tariff thing started, they actually completely released the geofencing. Like, geofencing is just not on these anymore. You can fly them next to airports, among other restricted areas. Now, you should not do that, period, full stop, unless you have talked to the airport first or something, and have been given permission. But in the most based act of being based, DJIs aren't geofenced anymore in the US, which is just insane. It's insane. That was one of the biggest gripes forever, because the geofencing on these drones was retarded. It was so bad. You couldn't fly near power lines, which power lines are everywhere, the big ones. You couldn't fly near airports, and if you've been on the I-5 corridor, you know that there's airports every 5 freaking miles. You couldn't fly near any stadiums, and there's stadiums everywhere. You couldn't fly near national parks, and like half of the Pacific Northwest is like a giant national park rainforest. So you couldn't actually fly like in a lot of places, and you had to look at these giant bubble overlays. And no shit, I happen to be right on the edge of one because I live in the damn rainforest. And so it was insane. And so they lifted that. Now you can fly wherever you want. And you might think, but people could fly next to airports. Oh, people were already doing stupid shit there anyway. I mean, people can have lasers. You see how bad that's got. So what if you're inside a building, but you're near an airport? It doesn't matter. You couldn't fly it. You couldn't even fly it in your own house. So anyway, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it says the worst case is that the firmware won't work. So I just updated the firmware on mine, and I had my friend update the firmware on his. Probably one of the other things that it doesn't say here is batteries, I think, are where people are going to get effed, because lithium-ion batteries just do not last for more than a year or two before losing a lot of charge. And you don't want to lose a lot of charge on a drone that already can't be charged very much. So, you want extra batteries. Oh, AliExpress. That's right. I keep thinking one of the other places. But it says, be careful. But you can actually buy, it calls it gray importing. Calls it gray importing. But yeah, eBay too. And I actually checked earlier, and eBay had tons of illegal drones on it. I thought that was wild. So eBay does not care. And it actually said there are actually reputable brick and mortar places that are basically they're illegally importing these drones and selling them, because they're able to just smuggle them past customs, because customs is where all of this is getting the caboose. And so that's the big topic I had, drones. And so the drone war that's coming is going to be this drone war between DJI and Skydio. But I love what Grok says. Grok says, stock up on spares now. Ban fear-mongering is mostly Skydio lobbyist BS. That's what Grok told me. Isn't that funny? Grok is hilarious sometimes. I suggest, if you want to hold out for the Neo 2, great. And the AI says that once the initial shock wears off, that even being able to smuggle these things in is going to eventually bring them down to MSRP levels. So, yeah. And I think that's going to happen because Skydio is dog shit and doesn't have anything that competes. So people are just, it's just going to be like gray, it's just going to be like massive, massive, massive smuggling of these DJI drones. Some people aren't cool with that, but the thing is, as a lot of you know, half of you are probably already breaking the law doing tons of shit. And the other half of you that aren't breaking the law doing tons of shit yet, whatever it is that you're doing now, is sooner or later going to be against the law. So I am not advocating that you should break the law. It's just, this is just how reality is working now. They're going to try to ban lasers because people are idiots. They're going to try to ban drones. They're going to try to ban nods and armor and radios. They've tried to ban radios how many times? Should radios be illegal? Of course not. That's stupid. Are people stupid with radios? Yes. So, anyway, that's my main topic. And so I just kind of want to go over a couple things. Drones are good for so much shit. Once you get one, you realize that like it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like AI or radios or anything. Drones are like a paradigm shift. They're like another superpower. Like if nods were a superpower, drones are like a superpower. You don't want to go over that hill to look because that hill is just too much of a climb? Send a drone. You don't want to go around the corner because someone might shoot you in the face? Send a drone. You don't want to clear a room because someone might shoot you in the face? Send a drone. You think that house is on fire and don't want to get up out of your chair? Go send a drone. There's a coyote running around and you're pissed off at it but you don't want to shoot it? Chase it off with a drone. There's a bull rampaging and you don't want to go deal with the drone or deal with the bull yourself? Send the drone. Like, you think the drone is or you think the bull is in the freeway? Go send a drone. Like, drones are faster, they're smaller, the cameras on them are insane. Even the entry level DJIs, the cameras are insane. Also, if you guys are talking to me, maybe I'll try like refreshing and make sure I'm not missing the chat. Go send a drone. Yep. Okay, nobody's saying anything. Like, drones are one of those things, kind of like radios, where the longer you have the drone, the more stupid shit you keep finding to like use your drone for. Like you could check your perimeter fencing, just by sitting at your freaking, sitting on your porch. You can go check your apples. You can go check on the neighbors. You hear a sound in the forest, you go send it in the forest. I think drones, once the US stops trying to ban them all, like I think drones are going to be right up there with AI. And AI kind of plays a huge part in drones because of like obstacle avoidance and drone logic and stuff. And the Neo 2 has a lot of that, because if you tell, like I was playing with mine today, I told it to follow me and then I ran around the yard. AI like drone following technology is going to be just like massive amounts of AI, to where basically drones are just going to have AI chips on them, because it needs to be able to recognize you if it's going to chase you around the yard, which is what a lot of people use their drones for. They use them to make nicer YouTube videos, because it's like having a little camera person follow you around. So like, I tried to do, oh my gosh, Heckling says they just broke the speed for drones. I think it was 534 kilometers, something like that. I can't remember which one of those I saw, but the drones are just like, they've got like drone Apaches. Have you seen the new drone Apache? Holy shit. Like the drone, I mean, it looks just like a real Apache. It's just like a teeny tiny bit smaller, and it can go way faster, and it can hold way more shit because it doesn't have a person in it. People talk about these little drone swarms and stuff. Could you imagine being, from Durkistan, and you want to go invade other Durkistan, and like they roll up with like a drone swarm of like 200 Apaches? Oh, like flying at Mach, holy shit. Wee. Whoa. My chair was not locked in. I almost went flying. Yeah, people talk about like how bad predators are and how bad reapers are. And reapers are pretty badass. But like, yeah, like a squadron of like drone Apaches would just like level. Like imagine the Ukraine war with just like squadrons of drone Apaches. Like, it would be insane. It'd be absolutely insane. And that's kind of gonna be it. Like, so the rest of us having drones, like, honestly shouldn't be that big of a deal anymore. But yeah, FPV drones, even civilian, like the new 3D printed FPV drones, those things fly so fast that just smacking into you would really, really, really hurt you. And they're rubber, so they just bounce off you, get back up and smack into you again. Let me see. If you've never seen Hoffman, it's Hoffman Tactical. I don't know if you ever watch his, but Hoffman Tactical has been working on 3D printed drones. Here's one from like 4 months ago, and it's basically so fast that it would just hit you, and then it's like rubber, so it would just like bounce off. Let's see, is this gonna work? Yeah, here you go. Put this on your if you want to see like some, like where drones are headed, like the small ones, the small fast ones, you got to put that on your wish list, because if you're going to get into 3D printers anyway, and everyone should have a 3D printer also, this is kind of how the future is going to be. It's going to be everyone making their own 3D printed drones. Getting the chips is still going to be a bitch. But even like the Neo, I think if you have the FPV goggles, you can unlock the speed on a Neo and get it up to like 45 kilometers an hour, which is already, like, it's going to be like getting hit with a big plastic baseball. So, and that thing's indestructible too. It's just going to get back up and fly away and like bonk you again. I wouldn't want to get hit with one of them, let alone if 2 or 3 of them are just like smacking into me. I'd get up and leave, unless I had a tennis racket or something, or a big bug net. So yeah, you can do recon with them. But I think the most important thing with drones is like counter recon. So, but that's why you need a little bit more battery, because you need a little bit more loiter time. Unless you have, here's how I imagine it working, is you'd have like perches that you go park your drone on, so you can look from the drone way, 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 way further out than you'd be able to with cameras. except you'd be like in 4K and it would be in real time. And then if they were sending a drone to you, you just go smash into their drone with your drone. And if you're flying around, $100 Neo, or if you make a bunch of like those Hoffman ones where they're just like rubber and they're even smaller, if you fly into like a rotor of a drone, a bad guy drone, I'm talking about shit in the fan bad guys, like don't kick my door in whenever the federal government comes back up. Don't kick my door in. I'm talking about shit as the fan bad guys. Flying, like if I took my Neo and then put it on like full speed, I could just like smack into the other drone. And one of the things that SHTF tactical drone manual talks about is when shit is the fan, drones are going to be actually used more sparingly than people think, because there isn't going to be any resupply, there isn't going to be any restock. So if someone's flying around with, a $3,000, I don't know how much Mavics cost now, but there's hold on, I'll ask the Grok. What are the top 3 DJI drones used in Ukraine right now? Concise. It's called the Mavic. I can't remember what the hell the other one's called. I know they're expensive. But the reason why Ukraine gets away with it... Oh my, I said fucking concise. Grok, I said concise. Matrice. I thought there was another one. All gray imported jailbroke. In Ukraine, shifting to locals, but DJI still dominates recon. Yeah, I guess they are finally building their own. I thought there was another... But yeah, the Mavics are what they were using at the beginning. Oh well. My point is like the cost between like a Mavic and a Matrice is like very expensive. Like people have to keep yeah, Matrices are like 8K. At least if you buy them from these retailers that I'm seeing. Okay, let's go with top 5. Make a matrix, including MSRP. I kind of want to like make a point, but I need like the prices of all of them to make a point. Like if you're defending your home, what you need, everybody would like, you want to have like the biggest, best, greatest, you want thermals on it, la-di-da-di-da. And I totally get that. But the thing is I guess they use Avata 2s also. All of the drones that they use in Ukraine, besides the minis, are between 1,000, 2,000, all the way up to 8,000 to 12,000, especially if you want like thermals on them. So if you're holding, a position, if you're holding your homestead and the bad guys are coming, which is strictly what I'm talking about here, the zombie motorcycle gang is, maybe they will have, maybe they will have stolen like a Mavic with night vision. But if they use that to recon you during the day and you knock that thing out of the air, they're going to be hurting. The likelihood of them even having one is insane. The likelihood of them having two, unless they are doing drone rotations, but I mean, you're talking about $20,000 in drones. Super unlikely. So my point is like, if you have $100 drone and you go knock out their $5,000 drone, and then all you got to do is wait for them to come get it and counter ambush them. Or put it up on a spike and wait for them to go get it, so they know what happens when they send drones in. The cost benefit analysis is just, it's there, so it's really beneficial to you to figure out what to use drones for, because like you might set out solar, someone might find your solar. If you don't do a good job at camouflaging your solar, which you can from roughly 3 angles, if you have some good camo netting, you need overhead concealment from three angles, because solar also leaves like KP. Solar panels leave a really long shadow, and I took some like aerial photos today to kind of show that solar panels, when you look at them straight on from like the right angle, correct angle, are super obvious. But from all the other angles, you have the solar panels' shadows, which stick out like a sore thumb. So you could be looking for everybody else's solar, and they could be looking for your solar. And if you have your own drone, you can work on your own overhead concealment using your own drone as a point of reference to kind of batten down the hatches, so it's harder for the bad guys to find you, because if they can't see it from the road, I guarantee you, wasn't it like insurance companies have been using like drones and like aerial photos for years now to like deny people insurance based on things that they can see from the aerial photography? I can't remember what case that was, but like, if you have your own drone, you can be like a much better judge at kind of, what your yard is looking like from the air, which is really important, because like, I'll tell you how I got kind of started on all these douchebag doctors flying their Cessnas, and I'll be out camping. There they are. Well, they see where I'm camping. They see that I have stuff there. Then I'm at my house and I'm doing stuff. Well, the Cessnas keep flying over my house and they can see everything. I'll be at my friend's house and, we'll be hiking, at my friend's house. And there will be the Cessnas back and forth and back and forth. And then you can tell, oh, you're being paranoid. No, you can tell. Because all of a sudden, a Cessna will just start doing donuts around your backyard. And yeah, it could be the FBI, but it's, but you can tell. You can tell if they're FBI planes, or you can tell if they're those military Cessnas that have the equipment in them, because you look at flight radar and it's pretty obvious. So those are just douchebag looky-loos that think because they're up there and they're rich fucking doctors that you can't do anything about it, and so they're just gonna watch you doing stuff in the backyard that's none of their fucking business. And that shit is just infuriating to me. And that's what got me going on, like, I need to have my own drone so I can know what all this looks like, so I can do a better job at camouflaging things from the sky. And that includes things like shipping containers and stuff, like not only satellites, but, if you ever drop a shipping container at your house, in my opinion, the first thing you should do is mask the shadows, because the shadows show up on satellite like crazy. And then KP says that's what the Allstate did when the tree fell. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, insurance adjusters, I think, use drones a ton now, especially like in disaster zones. But if, like, let's pretend it got really snowy. I could fly the drone down the road and see how the road's doing. Or let's say there's a tree down. Let's say there's power lines down. It's not safe to walk when there's power lines down. And you're certainly not supposed to be putting power lines in your mouth. You could just fly a drone down the road, and then you won't get the sudden urge to bite the downed power line as hard as you can. I know some people struggle with that, and there's a hotline to call if you want to, bite down power lines. It's much easier to just send your drone. And the Neo 2 has 2 additional optional antennas on kind of like a little backpack. And apparently, hold on, I'm gonna ask the Grok again. Grok, what's the new stated distance of the Neo 2 with the new backpack antennas it has? If you use the RC3 concise. Yeah, I feel like I never say these disclaimers enough. Don't interfere with other flying. Don't interfere with anything else flying. People get pissed at me when I say those disclaimers. You're an FCC shill. Shut the fuck up. Okay, so it says Neo 2 with the O4 backpack antenna module and an RCN3 up to 20 kilometers of video transmission. Which it says that's the big update over the Neo's 10 kilometers. The backpack adds proper OcuSync antennas. So I don't think the battery would actually last long enough. How many miles, if there's no wind, could the Neo 2 fly with the backpack? You can already fly, I want to say a Neo will already do like 2 kilometers. Fuck. It says the Neo 2 will do almost 9 miles. That's insane. That is insane. Like, you could, I don't care, even if you live out in the boonies, that's like literally enough to drive your drone all the way to town. You could, real world 5 to 7 miles out and back safe. You could literally fly your drone to town. For, when these things hit MSRP, I think they're going to be like $150. So if you wanted to see if it was safe to go to town or not, you just fucking fly your drone there and back. And with these big honking antennas that they have now, and if you use a controller that already has a really strong antenna in it, you'll have full bars like the whole way. If you fly it up high enough to where you don't lose line of sight. If you're in the city, you're going to have a lot of overpasses and bullshit. But here, like, all you got to deal with is the forest. So as long as you don't fly it on the other side of the trees or another side of the hill, you're fine. So all of this is to say, what? What do you mean? What do you mean, KP? What are you talking about? All of this is to say, I highly, highly, highly suggest that if you are sitting on the fence about getting a DJI drone, you really need to grab one within the next month, because the prices aren't. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. I knew you were teasing me, but I wasn't sure which thing which thing I said that you were teasing me about. So I don't think drones are. I don't think the prices are going to go up a lot. I don't think the availability is going to go down a lot. But where you buy them is going to be a little bit more of a challenge. And you may be taking on a little bit more legal risk than you normally like to, unless you're the half of my listeners that are already in the gray area, where half the shit you already do is probably illegal anyway, and it's not going to bug you. But if you still think you're going to get through this squeaky clean, you're going to want to get a drone now. Oh, curse words? Ah, dang it. I know. I'm sorry. I try not to curse or say the word retard, but I can't help it. I try though. I'm sorry. When I'm on other people's shows, I don't curse, but this is my show, and you guys are my friends. And even though I have to self-censor a lot, I try to keep it to a minimum. So, I know it's probably not fun to listen to my swearing. One time I played this song that was just nothing but the F word over and over again, and this guy was playing my song in the store, and or playing my video in the store, and I guess that was like too much. But sometimes I guess I just get tired of it and kind of don't care. Your virgin ears, hell yeah. I think it's just, I don't know. I know listening to little kids cursing is like nails on a chalkboard, but like, it's just like smooth. It's like so smoothly into my vocabulary. I tried not swearing for like a really long time. And then I think I kind of just realized that there's kind of like two different kinds of swearing. There's like when it's in your vocabulary, and then there's like swearing to curse. And so I try to balance those two things. I know it can get annoying. But I'll tell you that my work has basically devolved into just cussing, and it never used to be that way. I think it's kind of a sign of maybe like decor breaking down. Decorum, is that it? I don't know. But I know there's a lot of nanas that listen to this, and they're kind of hit and miss on whether or not they like whether the swearing bugs them or not. I know YouTube used to hate it. Now YouTube doesn't give a shit. So, anyway. All of that is to say, if you're sitting on a drone, purchase, get it within the next month, or what you're going to be doing is going to be quasi-illegal. Oh yeah, I've hung out with Navy, and I've hung out with truck drivers and stuff, and hung out in tons of bars. And so I try to at least keep it in the vocabulary and not be actually cursing, if that makes any sense. I think the only other thing with drones is like, if they try to retroactively make all of existing drones illegal, it is going to be a huge problem. Just like if they try to retroactively make guns illegal, or nods, or armor, radios, lasers, 3D printers. How many DJI drones would you estimate are currently active in the U.S.? concise. So yeah, we'll wrap up with that. Grok is running those numbers really quick. Also, I'll say again, please, please, please check out my book. If you've already checked out my book, please, please, please leave a review. I am trying to get to 25 reviews, and then I'll start on my next book, part 2. Grok says 2 to 3 million active DJI drones. FAA registers 856K, 536K recreational, 320K commercial. But then there's the sub 250s, which is like what I have. Goodness only knows how many sub 250 gram models there are. DJI has 77 to 85% of the US market share. Yeah, thanks, KP. I really appreciate that. And prayers that you get a job. Also, I don't advertise this that much anymore, but I do help people get jobs. Like I help them with their resumes. I help them with their interviews. I can't really say that I'm an interviewing manager right now, but I did just get done doing a set of interviews with jobless people. So I do kind of, at least a little teeny tiny bit, know what I'm doing. And I've had 1 billion jobs and I've interviewed 1 billion times. So we can talk about AI resume stuff. A lot of people are using AI for their resumes now for a bunch of different reasons. Some of those reasons are not obvious. So if you ever want to have a call offline about job crap, if it's anything even remotely tech related, let me know and I'll try to help you. I saw a lot of things on this last batch of resumes that were just like, yeah, you're not a fan of AI. I'm not a fan of AI. Nobody's a fan of AI. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you aren't a fan of AI, are not drones or guns or any of it. It doesn't matter. The reality is that it's something that exists now. And everybody else is using it. And it has some advantages. And the biggest advantage it has is not what you would immediately think of using it for, which is making sure that whatever the job posting is, hey RC, how you doing, buddy? We're talking about drones, but now we're talking about AI and resume stuff. So what's happening a lot lately, KP, is AI has completely taken over the hiring process. It's damn near completely taken over the interview process. It's taken over the resume process. People are using AI right into the damn interviews now, to the point to where the AI is listening and then repeating it. And then people are having to start using eye trackers to make sure people aren't reading the AI answers. They go like, AI is basically in every single part of the job interview process now. And I am not saying to use it for the whole thing, but I'll tell you the part that will help you the most, especially when you have to do metric shit tons of resume submissions, is to use the AI to reorganize your resume to make whatever is at the very top whatever that job posting wants. And the reason why is because if you if you're applying to like 20 or 30 places a day, which, by the way, so is everybody else, because people are just using AIs now to just bulk apply to everything. And every job posting's got thousands of responses. It's brutal. You have to, if you want to submit a lot, you got to use the AI to scoot whatever that job posting wants to the top. What that does is that puts you ahead of all the other idiots that won't do that. And I will tell you from personal experience, because I just did a set of interviews like a week ago. These people's these people's resumes were like the most boring shit I've ever read. So maybe they were AI. I don't know. But they didn't seem to have anything useful. None of them, all four of them that I reviewed were basically identical resumes. And like, I looked through it, I'm like, I don't fucking care. And I went to the next one, I'm like, I don't care. I went to the next one, I don't care. This is stupid. And it was hard to find. I'm like, just please, Lord, give me something in these resumes that is something. And KP says, back when I started working back in the day, number one question was, do you have any experience? No, sorry, we're looking for experience. Now is, you have experience, we're looking for someone to train. It's funny that you bring that up, because what a lot of people run into now is they want you to have more experience with the tool year wise than the tool even exists. So they want you to have 6 to 8 years of experience with something that's only been out for like a year or two. That happens a lot, and that is infuriating. And then the other thing that happens is you ask someone to have experience with something, and they put it in their resume, but they don't actually have any like demonstrable experience with it. They just put the fucking thing in the resume because they saw that you wanted it, and they just want their resume to be looked at. So, it could be like a database program or something. They don't know what it means. And they'll put that database program in their, or whatever, they'll put that in their friggin' resume. I saw that shit, and I'm just like, fuck these idiots. And so it kind of behooves you to use like the AI to scoot everything around so that what the person's looking for, not just the system, but I mean getting through the automated resume system. I can't remember what that damn thing's called. That's important, and you need that in keywords and la-di-da. But they will tell you that an actual live human being looks at each one of those. I don't know if I believe that. But if they do, you still want like your top 5 things to be the top 5 things that they're looking for. Because potentially they're looking at hundreds or like thousands of resumes, and they're all going to look the same. It's bullshit. Like, you look for database people, and there's 4 database people with the same fucking database experience, and you're just like, okay, so how do you decide who to interview when everyone's resumes look exactly the same? And the answer to that is like, your top couple things need to line up, and they need to hit hard. And you need to be speaking the same language as the place that you're interviewing for, and that's really hard. And if you don't have any inside knowledge, like if you've never worked there before, it's really hard to align yourself to be speaking their language, and to seem like you would seamlessly slot in, both with behavior and with job skills. So, what was an example I was going to use? My biggest problem used to be, like, I've been a BA on the IT side and the business side. And, like, they would ask me, so do you feel like you're more a BA on the IT side or the system side? And I'm like, well, the fuck, who cares? I've done both 50-50. But, like, they want that answer, and they don't tell you which answer the right answer is because they're going to keep it a secret, tee-hee-hee, so they can see if you fit in or not. And they play these mind games with you, and it's bullshit. Or they ask you which part of tech your weakness is, and then immediately spring into, well, you're going to be doing that, so you're not qualified. There's all these games that they play, and not doing the research, which is also, really good for an AI. So I'll give you a for instance. Let's pretend you want to get a job at a place like higher up, and you have no experience with anything that they have, but you really want to work there. You apply for something entry level if you can, or if it's like a shop floor or whatever. Something, anything that gets you experience with their software applications. Because then you can put all the software applications on your resume when you go in 6 months and start applying for the other ones. At least then you've been getting paid a little bit as you're applying for all the rest of the jobs there. I have personally done that before. And I'm recommending, that's someone else that I'm trying to help, that they do the same thing. They got in on the ground level. Now I told them, I'm like, use every single piece of software you can find. We call it resume fodder. And put every single piece of that, software that you can find on your resume, and get to it and do it. And there's a lot to say for the interviews themselves. I err on the side of being concise, and some of you might be laughing at me right now because it doesn't seem like I'm concise. But when you're in an interview, answering something as absolutely concise as possible is key, because you never really know how much time you're going to have. They could lie. That's happened to me before. A very famous knife manufacturer that all of you would know if I said the name absolutely fucked me on an interview. And I was my 4th or 5th interview in, and they lied to me about how long the interview was. So I was answering in long form. And I had actually pissed them off to the point to where just the interview was over. And they didn't tell me. And they had lied about how long the interview was. And I probably wasn't going to get it anyway, but I mean, I'd made it through like 4 interviews to get to that point. It is just really, I'm still offended. I'm still offended by that. And my agency didn't make it right. And they didn't fight for me. And it was not right. But a lot of the people that I was interviewing that really should know better were still, They had like aced the question, and they wouldn't shut the fuck up. And it's insane to me, people operating at these levels of tech still do not know how to shut the fuck up and finish a question. They don't understand, like, the people that are asking the questions do not give a fuck. They just want you to just answer the question as fast as you possibly can, and then shut the fuck up. If they want you to expand, they will just ask you to. This should not be rocket science, but for some reason everybody gets so far up their own ass that they think talking more, it's like talking to cops. Shut the fuck up. Don't do it. Say as absolutely little as possible and stop. It is infinitely more important to get through all the questions than anything you'll be able to, rub off on them, or anything they'll be able to, glean through osmosis. KP says, what I get a kick out of, my last job hired me as a forklift operator, then they had me operate a bobcat with a concrete breaker on it. Also had me operate a yard jockey, AK off. Dude, that's awesome. But also, I mean, if they just trust you more than everybody else, or if you're not a complete and total retard, like, they're going to put you where they need you. Yeah, I've worked at places before where I was going to be, an office clerk. And they're like, oh yeah, by the way, you're an office clerk, but you need to run the forklift. Like, that is, I think that's happened to me like more than once. It's pretty wild, like, especially if you work in an office that has a warehouse, unless there's all kinds of union circle jerking going on. I actually worked at a big distribution center, and those union fuck-offs, me being in the office needed them to move shit with the forklift sometimes so I could do my job. And we weren't allowed to touch the forklifts. Even if we were certified, you couldn't touch the forklifts because that was technically part of their job. And they had union mandated breaks. And it's like, which, okay, I know everyone needs their break, but like the insanity of like everything related to that forklift is a forklift job, and thus you can't touch the forklift. Fuck off. Shit, I just can't stand unions. That shit just makes me so angry. I get so angry. I think if you're forklift certified, you should be able to drive the damn forklift. Getting a cough drop. That's all she wrote. So I can help you if you want, or if you think I'm a stupid kid that has nothing to offer, then that's fine too. But hey, Nanny, yeah, I used to get so mad. Just like, and you'd get like the one good one. Unions are death. Amen. You'd get like the one good guy, and he would, bust out like for you, like if he needed something. And then he'd go on his break. Like, no harm, no foul. But like the rest of the union, where it's like they're staring at that fucking clock. Fuck off. And then they act all like, what's sanctimonious. And then like, then they'll like be pulling pranks on each other. Like, dude, I've got so many union bullshit stories. These guys, they used to like pour fake blood on each other's workstations. Like, they'd get mad and they'd pour fake blood on each other's workstations, and then they would disappear. And I remember one night the foreman was just like white as a ghost. Thought for sure somebody had just been mangled. And it was just, everyone was like looking, right? Doing, a head count, trying to figure out who's there, who's on shift, who are they missing. And it was somebody like pulling a prank on somebody else in the warehouse. I'll never forget that. KP says Northrop was union. I built the LPD 17 USS New York was still from the... Oh, that's rad, KP. I remember one time I was there, we thought the warehouse was on fire. Somebody in the lunchroom put something in the put something in the microwave and then turned it on and then left. And the microwave wasn't on fire, but whatever had been in the microwave was on fire or had been on fire because it filled the warehouse up with smoke. And it was shit. It was constantly. The shit was constant. They had to bid. They had to bid for their shifts, and they had to bid for which part of the warehouse they worked on. And each bidding group was an actual gang, actual fucking gang. And so each part of the warehouse was controlled by a different part of an actual street gang. What the fuck? And it's just this shit just never. It was insane. It was the definition of insanity. Why? And they just churn and burn. So they were always hiring people, and that if you ever go read my earlier P&W Affliction books, that's what a lot of that was about. The days since last hurt never changed, because we had the ambulance there every night. Every night the ambulance was there. The higher up managers, at least one of them, just slept in his office with the door closed. Constantly. There was people out every night, and so every night the manager had to bust out the book and call people. And if you were on call and didn't come in, you didn't get to take any days off. There was all kinds of really weird, it was just ultra toxic. It was beyond toxic, the whole thing. And the truck drivers, a lot of the truck drivers were just really bad. Because I was in receiving for a while. That was just ridiculous. The truck driver thing was ridiculous. It was all ridiculous. The whole fucking thing was insane. I know this would make a lot of people mad. I can't fucking wait until robots replace a lot of that shit. All that shipping and receiving. Fucking cannot wait. There is just no excuse. I don't believe that the United States should be subsidizing employment with bullshit jobs, especially the docks. Fuck. And logistics and stuff. Automate all of it. You need to be manufacturing real shit. Real welding. There'll probably be real welding bots someday, but I think everybody will want real welders. Real people that really welded. I can't imagine anybody will ever trust welding robots. Just because welding is so damn important. Anyway, blah blah blah. All that is let me know if you want help with job shit. I will help you with job shit. Or I'll do my best. Yeah. Nanny said it. Welding is an art. I used to work for a truck company, and I truly believe that if we could have, we probably would have hired an infinite amount of welders. We could never get enough welders. We paid for all their certs. We paid for all their cert renewals. We had all of the welding manuals and things, all the certifications, and we could just never get enough welders. And a lot of our, like, well, there, I mean, it's a truck. So, like, everything that came to it was, like, also welded. And, like, welding QA was massive. So, like, welding is an art. Welding QA is also super important. You know, welding certification is really important. And, you know, if we're ever going to make America great again, you need to be able to weld. And I will freely admit that welding terrifies the shit out of me. And I'm a big bitch when it comes to welding. KP says once they get that certificate, they're gone for more money. You are right. You have to treat your welders like they are butterflies. I guess I can't. Hey, roaming. I can't think. I don't know. You got to treat your welder. You've got to have really damn good retention policies. I would, if I was a manager in charge of a bunch of welders, I would have an HR person whose sole job was it to retain the welders. I'm like, you have one job. Do not let my welders leave. I would pay them more. I would train them more. If they tried to leave for another company, unless that company was part of our own supply chain, I would fuck them up. KP says, I tried to learn how to weld. I just didn't have the patience. I think my problem is, and I just need to take time to do it. Oh, I know, roaming. You're right. Like, there's no retention policy and there's no meritocracy. And they need to bring meritocracy back, just like Orange Man said. You know, Orange Man's been talking about meritocracy a lot. But what he doesn't talk about is retention. You have to have both. And you don't need like a recognition system, but part of your meritocracy and part of your retention is basically like some form of a recognition system where it's not just about meeting expectations. It's not even really exceeding expectations. It's understanding that some people are just flat out operating on another level than everybody else. And what I've been talking about lately is I think in the future, people, okay, so like most of my adult life has been migrating old Access databases and old Excel software and old, Access Excel. Yeah. I think in the future, the next generation of little tech bastards coming along, I think their future is going to consist of fixing all the H-1B software and fixing all the AI software. This H-1B thing, I know I harp on it a lot. It's getting worse. If you don't work in tech, you have no idea how bad the H-1B thing is. They say they have like an average IQ of 80 now over there with the H-1Bs. I don't even think it's that high. These are like dirt farmers that they fucking put in charge of tech. Like, it's bad. That's nothing to say that like dirt farmers can't code. It's that they've never developed past the third grade. KP says, I worked in industrial plants. It's hard to get on with the plants when they can just bring in contractors. I know that happened too. Scalpers. No, that's not what they're called. Scalpers? I can't remember. You're right though. Like, they can just, but so can hospitals. Hospitals can do the same thing. And that's why I would argue that like unions don't do shit. The hospitals the hospitals fuck themselves during the Rona, and they were just never able to catch back up. And the hospitals are constantly going on strike. But if you go to a hospital, they're just as dog shit as they have been for the last going on 6 years now. They can't even fix hospitals. Like, they're not going to be able to fix manufacturing. They're not going to be able to fix, shipping yards. Hell, and you got illegals driving friggin' Class A's into everything now, and jackknifing and wrecking. And the only reason wrecks are down now is because logistics is down. If logistics picks back up with all these damn tens of thousands of illegals driving, and I don't just mean illegals, I mean also illegal CDLs, road whores. Yeah. Hey, but you know what? I was a contractor for a long time, but I got the project going and then I went on to the next thing, usually because the full-timers are the subject matter experts. But back to the whole point of retention, if you have, if you're in manufacturing and you have, your A line, and your A line is like twice as fast as your B line, or if you've got your USA plant and your Mexico plant, and your Mexico plant's running in circles around your American plant, you have to both retain the really good plant or the really good line, and you have to simultaneously figure out how to bring the other line up. That's what I used to be a part of. I was ISO 9001 for a really big trucking company, and you're right. A bunch of you are right. Like, we did not do a good enough job retaining our manufacturing from our really good plants. Part of that was because, and I know this is an unpopular opinion, but the manufacturing plants kind of wanted to get kickbacks a little too fast when business hadn't really picked back up fast enough yet for us to get out of zero quite fast enough yet. I felt like they went on strike a little too early. But also part of that is because the union leads want their money as fast as possible, and I think there's a lot of blame to go around. But I also think it takes way too long for anybody to get money when the economy picks back up. Hiring takes way too long. Reimbursement takes way too long. And they're always finding ways why wages should just stagnate, and wages have been stagnant for 20 years. There's always some fucking excuse. So I think it's tough. I think you have to have people just in charge of retention. And they don't want to do that. Instead, you've got HR running everything, and all HR knows how to do is give themselves more money and more latitude. And then you got HR running the damn company instead of HR doing what management tells them to do. And that includes pay. KP says might have hold Pete hostage. Good luck holding Pete hostage. You'll have to record a video of trying to hold Pete hostage. I don't think if he's still here, roaming prepper. I don't know if I ever told you kind of what like really got me into your channel. Did I ever tell you this, Pete? I had a dream you came up to my door and started talking to me about something. And this never happens. I never dream about YouTubers. I haven't even been watching your videos. But it was 100% you, because nobody looks like you. It was you, and it was your voice and everything. And you came up to my door and you're like, you need to start watching my channel. I'm like, holy shit. And I woke up and I'm like, oh, that's fucking weird. That has never happened to me. And I hadn't even been watching your channel. Isn't that fucking weird? And I was like, who was that? And I had to go back through my YouTube and figure out which YouTuber that was. Isn't that freaky? I think I'd been watching. I think I'd been watching Vision, and I think I'd been watching, Mike and Livingston Man. I think that was before you guys made the Four Horsemen. Anyway, I don't know, Pete. If you're still here, then now you know. But if you're not here, then I guess I'll have to wait to tell you again later. I think that's funny. It's never happened before. But good luck holding Pete hostage. I have a feeling he's got some tricks up his sleeve. If he can show up in my dreams at my front door, that is not somebody I would fuck with. That's like some friggin' Candyman, friggin' Freddy Krueger shit. Yeah. He's got really great videos. I think he's like super, super underrated. And like his videos kind of like energize me to do shit. So like he'll be food savoring some shit, and I'm like, oh, now I've got to food savor some shit. It's pretty funny. Watch Pete. Oh, is he a friend of yours like in real life? Tell Pete to get a drone. So he can start flying drones. Unless he already has one. I don't know, maybe he's never talked about it, but tell Pete he needs to get a drone. Before it's too late. Because I bet he would love it. Especially like if he's always traveling, like it'd be fun to get a drone out. Look around. Text him tomorrow. Oh, hell yeah, dude. Thanks. And hey, I think Pete is great. His videos are great. His book is great. I own a copy of his book. His book's great. Oh, he has a drone? Oh, shit. Dude, he needs to talk about his drone more. If there was ever a time in history to be talking about drones, it's now, with DJI's ban on the horizon. I know everyone's shaken up about this EBT thing, but, what if you wanted to go check the grocery store out without, getting stuck in the parking lot? You go park somewhere else and fly a drone. Fly a drone over the grocery store parking lot. I'm telling you, like, man, there's just a million uses for drones. It's insane. And the Neos are super affordable. I totally didn't even realize that we don't have the flips. The flips here. But those would have been a really, really good starter drone too. But you gotta like import. You gotta like smuggle that shit in the country. I think the flips have like a little bit better camera too. But the flips are like twice as expensive. But I think they have they've got the crazy thing about the flips is they have an insane flight time. The flips can fly for like 31 minutes. For like a sub $500 drone that can fly 31 minutes, that shit is ridiculous. And like the sound profile on the flip. Oh, really? I didn't know he did any drone videos. I'll go check it out. The flip has like a really crazy quiet sound profile too, because it's got really, really big rotors. Really big rotors have like less noticeable decibel. Anyway, I didn't know he had a video about the FAA. I only fly sub 250 gram, and so I don't have like the $5,000 to $7,000. I want a drone with thermal though. That shit. I was telling my friend the other day, like if you think your cows are getting away, or if you think so, like okay, this would be a good spot to end on. Let me try to find the article video thing. It's really fuzzy and blurry. But these guys, I think he had a FLIR. See if I can. He had a... Oh, hold on. That's not... Abort the mission. I'm guessing he had a flare, because... But, oh, shoot, I should have... That's not gonna work. Sorry, hold on. It would help if I hit the right button. Okay. Uno momento. You have a cheap drone? Yeah. Even, it's funny, even those little, like, China copy drones, you can get those for like 20 or 30 bucks sometimes on eBay. And you might crash it and wreck it in about 2 seconds. But if you don't, they are a lot of fun. So here, I'll throw this up on the screen so you guys can see it. So there were some people on this guy's property, and they were, I guess, riding around on horses, kind of like the old days. He said, this was on Grayzone Intel. If you guys like Grayzone Intel, he said these guys cut a fence at a buddy's ranch. All were arrested shortly after by the game warden and sheriff. So it looks like, I don't want to play the audio and get in trouble, but I think the guy must have seen him on the thermal, and maybe they heard him or something, and he scared him away, and they ran off. That's crazy. The video is fucking crazy. I'll throw the video in here. Yeah, the four. Yeah. The video is kind of crazy. Wait a minute. Is that? Oh, whoops. That's... Hold on. That is not it. That is my response. Hold on. There we go. All right, so I will end with that. And pretty crazy. So thermal good, drones good. I wouldn't have gone out there. I would have sent a drone, but drones with thermal are expensive. Anyway, that is it. And so I'm going to shut this off. And la-di-da. Hope that helped. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye. Oh yeah, and buy my books and leave a review. And I appreciate y'all.